Good morning, one and all. You're more than welcome to another episode 73 of the Coffee to 11 show, brought to you here on a sunny Wednesday morning today in lockdown heaven. Delighted to have in particular my very special guest, Mr. Mick Dolan, joining us from Dolan's Warehouse and Emporium on the Dock Road in Limerick City. Mick, please say hello, show us your coffee mug, say cheers with your coffee mug, please.
Hello, everybody. Cheers. Welcome to the show. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the chat. Cheers.
I love it. I love it. I love it indeed. Let me tell you folks just a little bit about Mick before we bring the man in himself. So Mick was born in Dublin like myself. Woohoo! Happy days. And we both found ourselves in the Midwest. He began following school. He worked in Dublin's club scene in the 1970s. He was only 10 at the time. He got a real job and he worked on the Merchant Navy Irish Shipping. And very interestingly, I didn't know this, Mick, he arrived into Limerick by ship the very first time. And you would have landed at adjacent to the site where Dolan's Warehouse is today. Then rolling on a handful of years, Valerie said yes. They've got two fabulous children, Neil and Sarah, and all of them work in the business. And they then upped shticks and moved to Limerick in 1994, having travelled a lot there because they've got relations in Adare. And then what Mick likes, especially, music, especially traditional Irish music. So Kathy, when you're over, Dolan's Warehouse, fabulous place for traditional Irish music. And Munster Rugby, another convert to Munster Rugby. Liverpool FC, and creamy pints of Guinness with friends. And he did go on to say that had he not been reopening the pub this evening at 5 o'clock, he'd still be celebrating Liverpool's win. So happy days. Congratulations. Right. Dolan, absolute pleasure having you in the cafe. Thank you for joining us. In your own words, please, Mick, will you bring us all the way back to those early years, pre-Dolans? Bring us up to
Okay, well, I was born in Walkinstown. I went to Sisters Charity, started off first school, then went to Christian Brothers, played hurling for the Christian Brothers during the castle, out in Crow Park actually. And so at that time there was no rugby. I didn't hear any of rugby. It was just hurling and football. If we kicked the ball more than twice or three times on the ground, you got a clout off the Christian Brothers because that was regarded as soccer. And if you were there was street soccer at that time, so if you were caught playing street soccer, you were in trouble with the brother. When you went in, you got a clout, you know. So that was the kind of we were brought up. I'm one of 10, so 5 boys, 5 girls. So good even family, and yeah. So Erin Terrace is where we were first, which is just off Pearse Street. And then when they moved everybody out of the inner city of Dublin out to the suburbs, we ended up in Walkinstown. And there was nothing in Walkinstown. There was fields behind us, but there was nothing. There wasn't football pitches. There was nothing to go to do. So there wasn't even a shop that, you know, when we went there first, you know. So the village was, Ballymount Village was the only village there. As you probably know, it's just one street, Colm and Ballymount Road. So that was the start off. So I would have worked with my father. I delivered milk from Merville Dairies when I was 12. That's when I started working. I worked from then and then I worked with my father in the evening. He's from Fermanagh originally, a place called Derrygonley. So there was the Dolans and my grandmother is from there. So they moved down. They were cattle dealers. He was in a farm near Derrygonley, and he lost the farm during the IRA, the Troubles, and they ended up in Dublin buying and selling cattle. That's what my father did. So, and then we opened up shops and did different works for him. So that's where we ended up. So Walkinstown since, and I got involved in clubs like the Revolution Club in Dublin, Ace clubs, River Club, all them clubs, because there was no music venues at that time. So like you would have had Linda Martin, Chips, all them kind of bands. You would have had Bay City Rollers. We would have, at that time I would have been drinking with Phil Linnett, that would have drank in, if you remember, the Bernie Inn, just off Grafton Street. And so we would have we would have drank with him, you know, even when he had a hit that time. He was only on a wage at that time he was only a wage from the record label when they had whiskey in the jar. So we had a great time growing up, you know. It was great. I love music, so anything to do with music I love, so it's great.
Yeah, it's fabulous. I mean, you've described it there for those that wouldn't know necessarily Dublin in particular, but Pearse Street is absolute inner city. And the fact that Mick's roots are firmly based there, and yet he has found his spiritual home, as we spoke earlier, in the Midwest, is testament to the Midwest and the people here, but also testament to the man himself for being open to that. Because oftentimes we can hold on to our roots like they're sacrosanct. They're important, but they're not sacrosanct. We got to.
I think Dublin has gone so big, Colm, that you know when I was in Dublin, I would have gone to traditional sessions at different slatteries. We'd have gone to different places. I would have known everybody. But if you went now, it's just totally different. You know, it's. I think a lot of it was taken over by financial thing that a lot of the trad scene went, and I think that killed a lot of it. Not just in Dublin, but in different parts of the country as well. You know, so we don't think we've lost that in Dolan's. I think it's still there in the heart. You know, people can just enjoy it. Yeah.
I think you've worked really hard for many years to retain it, but retain it you have. So fantastic. And I love that, you know, sipping pints with Phil Lynott back in the day. That's fabulous stuff.
Well, all the people that I hung around were involved with music, like Pat McGuire. They're all involved. I have loads of memorabilia from different bands, different stuff. So we've had a great time. And then I got more. I would have started off, say, with Jimi Hendrix, Cream, all them kind of bands, and then I got so into trad, you know, with Cranksty, Body Band, Moving Hearts. I got into set dance. I did a lot of set dancing, and so it evolved into that, you know, and I still do a bit of set dance. Go down to Dolan's and not night you catch me set dance.
Is that a promise or a threat?
That's a threat.
Before we go there, how did you get into music in the first place? How did that all happen?
Well, I suppose I was, if you like, I was the entertainer in the family. I was the one who sang out of the 10. I was the one with the voice who sang. So I was the entertainer in my house. Like, so I would have sang all the ballads. I would have learned all the ballads on my own hat. I don't know why. Like, I would have sang Danny Boy, all them kind of stuff. I would have sang all the Dubliners, all them. And I don't even, I can't remember now how I even learned them, but learned them I did. And that's what I did, you know. So I was the entertainer, basically.
Lovely.
And I'm still doing it, still entertaining.
You really are. You really are. I think this time you're getting paid for it, and I hope you're getting paid very well for it. Come here. There could be a bar of Danny Boy for Kathy Mary yet before the end of the show.
And Dolan.
Forewarned is forearmed, Mick Dolan. Right. Yeah. Listen, tell us about the Merchant Navy and landing on the Dock Road, will you please?
Yeah, so I joined the Merchant Navy. I went to college. I'm a Liverpool fan because I went to college in Liverpool. I went to Liverpool Catering College because any foreign-going vessel couldn't go without certification of a chef. So that's Irish Shipping sent me there to college. So I had such a great time in college there. So hence I'm a Liverpool out now fan. So I spent a lot of time there. So so I would have started off. I would start off on the ferries. I would have been on the first St. Patrick, the one that kept breaking down and telling you it was the currents that were delaying it. It wasn't. It was the engines at the time. it was never the current. And then the St. Killian. I was on the first St. Killian. I would have been on board that when we collected it, and so I was working on that for a few years, and then I decided when I was going. Sorry, I go back to when I was going to school. When I was going to school, the teacher in school, she worked for RT. I'll think for that in a second, but when she was doing geography, we had the paper which was the Independent on the Tuesday, always had where all the ships, at that time there was about 24 ships of Irish shipping, where they were. So we did the geography on where them ships were, and I got just a massive interest in ships, and that's where it came from. It came from Valerie McGovern. I don't know whether she was RT, so she was my teacher in school, and that's where the Merchant Navy came into, following these ships around, and just got hooked on it. So once I got in, I asked for a transfer to Irish Shipping, And then I worked in Irish shipping. Then I worked on the deep sea ships, like they would have about 60,000 tons. So you probably have an idea that 40 ton is a truck, so 60,000 ton they were. And we would travel all around. The bulk carriers, they carried all kinds of everything, you know. So they would have been deep sea, would have been on they were all named after trees. So there was I was on the pine, the maple, the larch, the oak, all them ships. So I'd have been on them, and then I transferred. There was the Irish shipping took over some ships that were owned by CDL coal distributors and Halls of Cork. So that was the Daunt Rock, the Fastnet Rock, the Tusker Rock, and I worked on all them as well. And my first time into Limerick was on the Tusker Rock. We were bringing coal from Liverpool, so that's a strange one. Coal from Liverpool, and when I came in at the time, but once the hatches closed on the ship, if there's any coal on the deck, you could bag it, and so the first money I made in Limerick was selling bags of coal to the dockers when we arrived into Limerick. So there's a story for you.
Oh, it's just great. By the way, I don't know if anybody else picked up, did you notice the dirty laugh when he was talking about, I loved Liverpool, I loved college in Liverpool. And he had this laugh about it.
It was such a fun.
What?
It was such fun. And it was great because I was there with guys from the BNI, so I could go home any weekend I wanted, you know, but I had such a great time there going to the matches. We got tickets. It was brilliant. And then if I came on the ferry, I was bringing back, I was bribing the tutors, I was bribing them with cigars and different stuff from the ships. So I got Class A honours in everything, Colm.
I love it. Now, that said, you've got the smarts for sure. I'm amazed at your memory. You've named every one of the ships that you've been on and all the rest of it. So you've got fabulous retention, which is great. Clearly great business skills. Tell me, did you actually land on the Dock Road there opposite Dolan's?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's where I came in, right opposite the Dolan's. Yeah.
And
we used, after that, because I was in Limerick a few times, we used to love coming to Limerick because we went to Cork. If you were they were a small foreign going. They go as far as Portugal. That's as far as they went because they were only about 6,000 to 8,000 ton because that's all that's allowed up the estuary. So if you were coming to Limerick, we'd say, wow, because you're right in the middle of town. You're in the docks and there you are. Everything is there, you know. So we used to love Limerick, yeah.
And what was there? What was there in the venue that is now Dolan's?
There was 3 pubs there. There was the Carrigan, and that's now the Casbah, and next door then would be Dolan's. Would have been it would have been it was named after the mill tavern, and then Jerry Ryan's was next door. So they were the 3 pubs there at the time.
And so when did you decide that it was time for you to exit shipping and get into entertainment?
I was working in Dublin. We decided that we were going to go and we're going to open a traditional pub in Clare. So we went and we bought Joseph McHugh's in Liscannor, you know. So we bought that in I think it was around 1990, because we'd moved on. We were going to get out of Dublin. Was just growing at a rapid rate. We wanted to head west. We spent a lot of time with music in Clare and Dolan and all around Kilfenora, Listonbarn, all around there. So we've a huge amount of friends around there still to this day, you know. So it was all through the music. So we travelled around for the music, for the sessions, went to the Flas every year, and then we decided we're going to open our own place. So we bought McHugh's. So we bought McHugh's around. We lived in Kenilworth Road in Dublin. We sold our house to buy the pub. So bought the pub, but we needed money actually to put the money in to make it what we wanted, you know, because at that time it was only a small pub. We needed to do food, we needed to enhance it. So we needed money, so we went to the banks. The bank said, yeah, no problem. So then all done, sold, ready to go. and there's no deeds in the place. Joe McHugh never owned it. Ever owned it. It was never in his name. It was in some aunt's or uncle's name. So couldn't get the money. So we were left house sold, gone. So my best friend lived in Adare. He'd moved from Dublin as well, and he was married to Valerie's sister. So we used to go to Adare every weekend. We'd go to Adare, and we used to go into the sessions around Limerick. So at the time, you had to go to Clare Street maybe for a Tuesday. You had to go to Nancy's for a Wednesday or a Monday, and you had to go to the other day was the tavern just off Henry Street. So it was Mickey Dolan and Mike the Piper Mickey Dolan, and we knew Mickey Dolan and we knew Bat O'Connor, and they said, why don't you open up? Why don't you do music in Limerick? So okay, so we did.
Okay.
So we can
stop there for a minute. The collective look of horror on everybody's face in the cafe here when you said your man didn't own the deeds, right? And then you went, but with our house sold, and everybody was, oh my God, that must have been a scary time, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. It was a year of. I still tipped away doing stuff. I'll always find something to do, you know. And I'm a worker, so I can't stay easy. So I'll always do something. So I was out there and about.
We'll both all around the cafe for that. Absolutely, Mick Dolan, you're one of the hardest working men I've come to know over the years. Phenomenal hard work that you and your team, your family and your team put into.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a team player, Colm, and that's why the truth. Everything is team, and we never got where we were with the team that we had in Dolan's, you know. So great, and they're still there.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and really wish you we're not finished, by the way, but I want to wish you every success this evening at 5 o'clock when you reopen. Fantastic, Bula bus all around. We wish you and the team every success. So it must have started off small, did it? That middle bar.
Yeah,
right?
they started off just the front bar. That was it, the front bar. When we bought it first, there was a door, 2 little windows on the side, and you walked in, and there was a false ceiling. And then there was, you know, that old Tudor style plaster with the black bits of timber. And there's a pool table when you walked in. So that was the first thing, to knock the wall and get the pool table out. Yeah, so that was, it was. So when we opened it first, you'll probably see a picture here and there. There's a picture of me behind the bar, and Valerie on the right side of the bar, me on the opposite side. So that goes back to 1995. So you'll see there's a picture in the bar of my best mate, Mac Gill, who's living up in Kinvara now. He's an All-Ireland dancer. And you'll see him dancing on the counter in Dolan's. And that was on the front page of the Limerick Leader in 1995. And that actually, but people said before, people wouldn't sit on the dock, they wouldn't stand out in the dock road. Like when people came down, they'd stand inside the door waiting for a cab. They wouldn't stand outside on the dock road because of being a red light area, obviously, at that time. So,
an incredible start. I love the idea that you broke down. The first thing to do is break down the wall, get the pool table out, because what you were doing was you were setting out your stall as to what Dolan's was going to become and what it absolutely was not. So, fabulous. So the front bar was the start. When did the warehouse come in?
So the front bar was the start. So we had 2 doors on the bar, and the fire officer came in. And she said, "Oh, you're doing music here. You have to go for a music license." I said, "Okay." She said, "Well, I want that door shut." I said, "Why?" Because you would expect you're better having 2 doors than 1 if you're a logical thinker like I am. And she said, "No, we need that shut." So I shut that door. And then she sent me a letter saying you could only allow 50 people into the bar with the music license. So I'd signed up to the music license. I'd got the music license. Then as soon as we got the music license, 3 days later, I got a letter that we could only have 50 people in the bar. So everybody who has a brain in the head knows it's not viable. to do music with 50 people. Anyway, so hence we said we started looking for ways to get around it. So next door was a restaurant at the time. Caesar's restaurant, it was called at the time, next door. That's where our restaurant area is when you come into the bar on the left-hand side. It's now our gin room. But in there was a cafe, so we said, okay. So we made an offer on that. And then we looked out the back, and at the back there was Limerick frozen foods were at the back, where the warehouse is now. So we followed up. We put an offer on that, and I followed up who owned it. And Bobby Mulrooney owned it. He was from Limerick Fruit originally, because that was Limerick Fruit beforehand. It was a banana ripening factory at the time. So I went looking for him and knocked on his door, and I said, "Will you sell it to me?" So he said, "No, I'll release you." I said, "No, I've got to buy it." So we went down and we went to Fennessy's, and we had a couple of pints of Fennessy's, good creamy pints actually. We had a conversation, and he went back to his agent, who was because the people were moving out. Limerick frozen foods were moving out, and he went back to his agent, and he said that was the price, but I don't want to sell it. And I said, "Well, what price is it?" So whatever the price was, I get 20,000 more than what he asked for, and got the deal over the line, basically. So so that was it. So that's how the two places were bought at the same time.
Wow, fantastic! I love the fact
that was the reason that we wouldn't have bought it probably as soon. We would have looked at expanding going forward, but we wouldn't have done it as quickly. Because if you think that was 94 we opened, so we opened the warehouse in 98. So that was 4 years. So we bought it in 96. I had ready to go in 98.
Well done. I love the fact that it was a banana ripening factory.
Yeah.
Where'd you get it? And then creamy pints of Guinness and Fennessy seeds. The odd 20 minutes from there. And also I love the fact that the restaurant on the left-hand side as you walk in is now the gin room. That's just a sign of the times, I suppose. Everything keeps changing.
Yeah, well, I think we've evolved over the years. We're not exactly the same we were as in 94, but we've kept the basics there. What is Dolan's, and we've enhanced it rather than changed it, if you like, So that's our ethos going forward, and that's the family's ethos as well,
Fabulous. And for those our foreign guests that are here this morning, we've even got some people in from Cork, I think, right? Foreigners in the room, right? Would you just describe Dolan's now, if you wouldn't mind? What are you heading into this evening? Walk us through the place, if you don't mind.
Okay, well, obviously, just the bar is open, and we've got a roof garden, and we've another 2 rooms. We've upstairs set up for food, and the Casbah set up for food. But we'll be basically in the gin room and the bar. Will be tonight. We just want to get it going slowly, but make sure it's right. Make sure the staff are safe. Make sure everybody's safe that's coming in. So I'm on the door tomorrow. I'm going to be tonight. I'm going to be security, Colm. So if you come up, you better be nice to me or you won't get in.
I love it. Oh, I love it.
So you'll walk in, with hand sanitizers. There's all the tables will be set out. All the tables will be numbered. There'll be an app. You can actually, if you don't want to be served by somebody, you can go for an app and order from the table if you wish. You don't have to. You can order your drinks from the table. It'll come on a tray. You'll go down. Staff will have masks on. If people don't want masks, we can take them off. But safety first. That's our motto for going forward with this, because we don't want anything going backwards with this. We want this going forward and safe for everybody. So that's
we wish you every success. You have a lovely ethos around what you do, and thanks for taking us through the walkthrough for this evening. I suppose it's more, what was it like for people that wouldn't have been there before? What was it like before COVID, and what's it going to be like into COVID? Can you walk us through the various? It's a warren of venues, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So well, you've got when you on when you go in the front door, you've got Dolan's. Obviously, that's the trad. That's the heart of the place. On the left hand side, then you have the gin room, which can be a party room or serve food in there as well. You walk through. There's an archway, and then it's mainly food at the back here. The kitchen's on your left hand side. There's two bars: the front bar, the back bar, and then there's tables all around. If you turn left, you go upstairs to the toilets, and that's also a way up that you can go up to the upstairs venue. So that's where it's set up for music parties, or that at the moment it's set up for food. If you go outside that door, then you've got your garden, your roof garden. Go back down at the back of that, then you've got the warehouse at the back. And then you've got the Casbah is alongside Dolan's. It's parallel to it basically.
And what's the difference between Casbah, say, and like they're all different vibes to them?
Different vibes. We do a lot of rock metal it's a real that rocky type feeling of a venue, whereas upstairs it's a lot of jazz, a lot of folk, and a lot of singer-songwriter, that type of thing upstairs. And we do rock bands up there as well, but it's that kind of, that vibe to it, you know. And you know that, and like in the warehouse, we do everything from comedy right through. We do comedy also in the Casbah as well, so it's, we're flexible, we do that's there.
Great stuff. Eamon is just sharing some images there for us all to get a feel for it. Of course, the big top, we hadn't even touched the big top. So
yeah, so the big top, the castle, that's the big top. And then we have the castle, the gigs in the castle. We also do gigs in the docks. We had a lot of gigs booked this year for the Docklands Festival, which over our 25th anniversary was a huge thing to go on. So hopefully we'll be getting going later on in the year with some of the venues, you know? Maybe at lower capacity, but we think everything goes on safely. We'll move forward with that as well, you know.
Great stuff. Eamon, thank you for that. That's very helpful just to give us a flavour. Thanks a million, Eamon. At last minute going off and checking some images. Really appreciate that. Mick, it's great. It's a wonderful story, you know, and I think anybody that's seeing those images, clearly that stuff is not put together easily. So it's giving you a measure of this man and his family and the team they've built around them for many years, that you can't pull that stuff together unless you've got all that going on and the credibility to go with it. Nick, in terms of acts that you would have had, oh, by the way, I saw Freddie White in that upstairs room a couple of years ago. That was fabulous. That was
great. I love him. Yeah, he's great. He moved to Clare, actually. So.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so we'll be getting him back soon, I'd say. Yeah, it's great. I love him, yeah. I used to go to him in Dublin all the time. Because at that time you went to gigs once a week. The same artist, like, it's a different, like, no, do you do that now? But that's the way it was then, you know. Yeah. You'd go every week to Andy Irvine or Freddie White, all these people. Yeah, it's great.
Great stuff. Listen, in terms of the acts that you've had in Dolan's over the years, have you any favourites, or is that an unfair question? Or
I suppose, yeah, there's so many, like Sharon, they should have a video here with all the, all the guys, like you've Declan O'Rourke, you've Mick Flannery, you've just all them artists, just brilliant. We've had so many, you know. But one character that stands out is Richie Havens. Richie Havens, who opened Woodstock. So he was such an amazing character. Like, he didn't drink, but you'd spend hours talking to him, you know. And sorry? John Bishop we had there recently. He is a good Liverpool supporter as well, you know. We had a great time with him. So I had a great conversation with him about Woodstock. And then afterwards I had a conversation with Arno Guthrie, you know. So Arno was in Guthrie. So I said, Arno, how'd you get on? He says, I don't know. He said, I walked on stage and there's a hole in the middle of the stage and I just fell through it. That was his first when he went on stage. So it's great stories like that, you know. You could keep going on with stories, you know, so you keep remembering them, you know. So it's great.
Yeah, it's lovely.
But they're great characters, you know, of that era, you know. They were all in Woodstock, and I think that's great to have, you know.
Isn't it wonderful that you're able to connect Woodstock with the Dock Road in Limerick? Like, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
That could never have happened. Could never have happened except for you guys set it up. So you know, Bula Bus, well done.
Yeah, so thanks for that.
So come here, you're the summertime gigs around the city and other places, other venues outside of Dolan's, you're hoping that might come back at some point?
Yeah, well, we're starting off with the you know, we're doing the drive-ins that's up in Green Park, just off the Dock Road. So we're doing on the 24th, 25th with Gavin James and Hermitage Green on there. So that's the start. Like, it's sitting in the car, but it's going to be really well done. There's a 40-foot screen, and it'll be on FM in your car. So that's our start. So we'll move forwards from that, you know.
That's incredible. It's great stuff. Actually, I tuned into the Hermitage Green gig from the warehouse, and it was a fabulous gig, right? It was broadcast, streamed, and fabulous gig. But it was the strangest experience ever because, you know, they were talking basically to Mick and inviting creamy pints onto the stage, right? But it was a beautiful thing to do for them and for you guys to help us all stay connected. So again, well done. And we genuinely wish you every success, you and Valerie and the team. And please God, tonight will just be the start of it. Tread carefully, tread safely, and let it open up slowly. But it'll open up, it will, and it'll be stronger than ever.
Well, safety is the whole thing, that everybody feels safe, and everybody is safe going forward, you know.
Listen, it's been a joy having you come in, and really appreciate you taking the time out, because today's a busy day. Like, you're reopening.
I've got to run down in a few minutes because it's working.
We'll let you go. We'll let you go in just a few minutes. Before we let you go, two quick things if you don't mind. Number one is, what are you taking from COVID? What are you not going to let go of that you found again in COVID?
I think we were so busy, and for the last 3 months we haven't been. So it's taken time to reflect and just to do things a little bit, change things a bit, you know, make things better, make things easier, you know, and make things nicer for people, you know. We've done all the place stuff, all our bars, it's all brand new, brilliant, yeah. So happy days, yeah. So yeah, just we're so happy just to get back at this start, and we can't wait to going forward to get it finished. Sarah's still stuck in America, so we're waiting for her to come back, waiting for a flight to come back. So she was doing concerts. She's an opera singer, so she's been over there, and she's hoping to get flights back sometime in September, October, and she's back for good then, working in the business. So we'll have a great singer available in Limerick. Valerie Dolan. I
love it. Ever the promoter.
Absolutely.
She's not even off the flight yet, and he's selling her. Right, yeah. Mick, an absolute pleasure having you in the cafe. I'm going to go to Q&A from the floor, if you don't mind. Who'd like to come in and talk to Mick for a second? Seamus O'Donovan, please.
Mick, Seamus here in Cork. Thank you so much. It was a really wonderful chat. Great friend of Freddie White. Get to see him every time, our local man here. The question, did you ever come across Rory Gallagher in your time, Mick?
Not in person. I was at gigs all right, but no, I wouldn't have crossed paths that way, no. Sure, he's from Cork. That's the problem there. No, it was people who were around Dublin a lot, you know. So it was all that crew that I hung around with, no. But I never sat down and had a pint for him, no. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But I was huge.
Best of luck today, Mick. It's going to be great.
Cheers. Thanks a million. Appreciate it.
Seamus from Cork. You see, Mick and I are from the actual capital. The actual capital. All right. Princess Shelley, what's been going on in the cafe?
Lots and lots of lovely remarks, and I see Bridget may have a question there. We'll come to you in a moment, Bridget. Some lovely comments, Michael, and such a great vibe in the cafe. Excited for you as you reactivate and kick off today. And like I wrote down on my notes here that you said, this is our start and we will move forward with this. And I really liked that. That was a real nice launch pad for the day. Janie Lazar, who's joining us, she was a previous guest, TEDx Dunleary. She says, when you were talking about your journey where you started and in Dublin, she said, roots are important. They shape us and remind us of who we really are. So she popped that in when you were bringing us back to your roots. And I see a few nods in the cafe. Seamus, who we just spoke to, joining us in Ballincollig. That's great. Thank you for that. Thanks for that comment, Janie. And there was a few as well when you were saying you went west to Liscannor, Michael. James Finnegan joining us in Kerry, and Seamus, who we were just talking to, were like, go west, young man, west is best. So with this constant kind of rivalry between the real capital, which is attributed to be Cork, and then the actual capital, if you like, which is, so we've got the real and the actual, it depends who you go with. I'm married to a Cork man, so I have to remember that. So then Peter Halpin, who's joined us in the cafe today. Nice that you're here, Peter. Thank you for joining us. He said, inspiring story, Mick. Guts and determination will always win. And I thought that too when I read that comment. Really gutsy story and gritty. I loved it. Really, really good. I really liked James Finnegan. Again, you came in again, James, there in Kerry. James said, I'm learning so much about Limerick, where there's a banana ripening factory and where warehouses are anything but warehouses. I really loved that. A big applause for that, James. I liked that comment. I thought, oh yeah, I like reading that one. So Seamus was hoping he'd make it from Ballincollig and Cork down to Limerick for the opening today. I'm not sure if we still got the 50-kilometre radius, but I'm sure if you smile nicely at Michael on the door, I'm sure he might let you in, Seamus. So Ian Buckley is here. He's joining us. Hi, Ian. You can give everyone a wave. Thanks for joining us in the cafe. And he says, see you later this evening, Mick. Can't wait. So maybe you know, do you know Mick? Ian? Do you know Ian Mick, I should say? So yeah, so he's joining us here.
Ian's not getting in anyway, unless he comes down with his Munster jersey on. And
there you go. That's your criteria there, Ian. You have to wear your Munster jersey as you go down. So yeah, so great to know that Ian's looking forward to that. And Sarah's saying fabulous, all the great things that you're planning going forward. She was talking that she's going to look up that gig that you were talking about with the screen. And Kathy Mera, who's joining us from the United States, says, good luck tonight. Can't wait for my next trip to Ireland and having that creamy pint. And we're all witness here now, Kathy, that Colm promised you that was on him. So we'll have to make sure that he stands to that. And yeah, Ian said, do I have to wear my pool shirt later on or a bow tie? So I think that's been answered, Ian. It's the Munster jersey. So Eamon Smith has popped in the links there to the drive-in gig and also to the Dolan's website. So do access that. It sounds like there's some really exciting stuff going on there. And I'm just going to invite Bridget just to unmute there. Bridget, I think you had a question.
No, Michael, I just say it was an absolute delight to have you on this morning. You're a real salty, earthy fella altogether, you know. I'd say now that if a volcano erupted in Dolan, you wouldn't bat an eyelid. I know by you.
No,
yeah.
It's a great size.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, no. Yeah, no, you're totally calm. I tell you, nothing's gonna knock you. And it was an absolute pleasure to hear your story and your witty kind of asides. And I'm wishing you the best of luck now tonight and with everything you're doing.
Brilliant. Thanks a million for that. Appreciate it.
Not at all. Not at all.
Thank you for that, Bridget. It's always, and like I say, and forgive me for repeating myself, but it's you here, the Bridget, the James, the Sarahs, you're all here. I can't name you all. And it's you that makes the cafe such a wonderful place to be. With all your contributions in the comments and your questions, the little bit of crack we have before we go live at 11, and indeed as we're all grabbing our hats and coats as we leave after the interview. So thank you all for your valuable contributions, questions. Thank you, Michael, and I'm going to pass you back to your host.
Seriously.
Indeed, thank you, Princess Shelley. Thank you for that. My apologies, I was muting people in and out there because there was a bit of feedback and make you ignore the feedback, so apologies for that. But look, it really has been a joy, Mick, having you in. Thank you, and Valerie, for taking the time out of your busy schedules. There's Valerie in the background. Is she going to pop in and say hello, or is she going to stay out of the limelight?
No, she's going to stay out, she said. She's too busy. She's working. She's working.
He's sitting there talking.
She's doing the menus. She's doing the menus across to me.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Eamon, thank you for those. Thank you for that lovely. There's Valerie there. There's the real boss, right? And that's Neil and Sarah, and of course Mr. Deegan. But lovely picture, folks. You've done a wonderful job. You've done a wonderful service over the years to Limerick and the media. So thank you for that. On behalf of everybody.
Thanks a million.
We wish you every success this evening. Before I let you all go, let me tell you what's happening in the cafe tomorrow. Sticking with the entertainment theme. See the way we segue stuff in the Coffee at 11 show? In other words, it just comes together in a particular way, right? Anyway, Steve Spade is coming in tomorrow. Steve Spade is a magician. And we can expect some magic, more magic in the Coffee at 11 show in the cafe tomorrow. So please come along and meet Steve Spade. I want to thank Princess Shelley for producing today's show as ever. Heart emoji there. I want to thank Eamon Smith, aka The Monk, and Projectionist Supreme. Thank you for at the last minute finding those images and putting them up. Of course, Katrina O'Brien, the lovely Katrina O'Brien, our rock in the background, who will top and tail this, make it beautiful for social media later this evening, and wigwam.ie, SME peer support, for their ongoing support. And finally, Mick Dolan, it's an absolute pleasure, my friend. Wish you every success. And we finish by saying, namaste.
Thank you.